series. Here we'll focus on running ASP.NET Core web applications on Docker containers. Okay, so first of all, what is Docker? You could get more information on what Docker is on docker.com. So simply hit docker.com, and they have a lot of definition and blog posts for you to read up on Docker. But simply put, Docker is a software that helps us run and manage containers. Okay, now the question is, what is a container? Well, a container is this lightweight environment where we could execute our code, where we could have our application run. And the advantage it brings is it is lightweight, it's simple, and it's very fast, really fast. Okay, so, and it's a technology that the world has embraced a lot. Most companies are moving into running their applications on Docker containers, and I think it's something every developer out there should get his hands dirty with. Now, this tutorial series is in basically 3 folds. So we're going to build a stateless application the first time without a database, and that application will be deployed to a Docker container. Then the second tier of the application would be integrating a Postgres database backend to it using Entity Framework. So we're going to see how we can do all of that and deploy the application to a Docker container. Then last but not the least, we're going to use nginx reverse proxy server and create multiple instances of our application and use nginx as a load balancer across the multiple applications. Okay, so just to show you some of the tools that we'll be using, the one we'll be using is, of course, Docker and Docker engine. Then the second thing we'll be using is .NET Core. We'll be using the .NET Core image. We'll be using the image, not the CLI tool itself, but the image represented by that CLI. Okay, so the next thing we'll be using is, of course, nginx. In the last phase of the tutorial series, we use nginx and see how we can load balance across multiple instances of our application using nginx. Then of course we'll be using Visual Studio Code. We'll be using Visual Studio Code as our integrated development environment. That's our IDE. Okay, so we'll be using Visual Studio Code. Okay, and yeah, so I think that's the tooling for the series. The requirement though is that you need to be comfortable with building web applications with ASP.NET Core, because we won't be diving much into how the applications are being developed. We just simply look at how we can deploy them finally into Docker containers. And last but not the least, the database engine we'll be using is Postgres. Okay, PostgreSQL. So we'll be using Postgres database. So you can go ahead and read up all of this tooling that we'll be using: Docker container, .NET Core framework, nginx, Visual Studio Code, and of course the Postgres database that we'll be using. Okay, so that's about it for this particular video. So join me in the next video where we start scaffolding our stateless application and see how we can deploy it to a Docker container. Okay, see you in the next video.